A ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Okay, so I never make TikTok videos and I'm probably very late to this trend, but I have a fun story for this, so we're gonna tell it anyway. So when I was a kid, my cousins had in their family this summer house, which is exactly as bougie as that sounds. But this was up in the woodlands of Connecticut. So if you're unfamiliar, Connecticut is up in the northeast of the US. And as I said, it's kind of like this place is surrounded by woods. It was built in like 1750. It looks like your stereotypical like New England old house, but yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. Okay, so the last time I was at this house a few years ago, I did snap some photos of it. So this is what the house looks like from the front, suitably spooky. This is what it looks like from the side, from the hollowed out pool. This is the hollowed out pool. As you can see, it's surrounded by woods. This is just a creepy basement. And the house also has a porcelain doll collection in the master bedroom, so that's fun. And I don't know if it's the land that the house is on or the house itself that is like kind of spooky, because I've had stuff happen over the years, both in the house and outside of the house, and like everything from lights turning on and off by themselves, taps turning on and off by themselves. I've heard phantoms snoring in the house. One time I overheard this whole argument in the middle of a thunderstorm at like midnight on the back porch where nobody was out there, and like that porch overlooks the woods and the brook. So yeah, I don't know what that was. Another time I had a friend with me when we were teenagers, and we were like with some of my cousins and we were out by the pool late at night, and she like gets out and she's like, "Oh guys, I hear my mom calling me like from the woods," and we're like, "Girl, that is not your mom, we need to go inside." Yeah, so anyway, when I was 7 or 8, somewhere in there, we were up there for Thanksgiving, I think, because it was cold outside. And we didn't usually go up there for Thanksgiving, but we were there with like my cousins and some of their cousins, so like a lot of extended family and everything. And at some point after dinner, all of the adults settled in to have a nightcap or whatever, and all the kids decided that we were gonna play a game of sardines. And if you don't know, sardines is basically just like reverse hide and seek, where like one person hides and everybody else goes to find them and then like tries to like pack into whatever hiding spot they picked. So it's my turn to hide, and for some ungodly reason, I decided that I was gonna hide not only in the attic, but in this teeny tiny closet in the attic. Mind you, in this house, the attic is not like your spooky crawl space, like horror movie attic. It's like got a bedroom and a bathroom and everything, but it's still an attic in an old house. Like it's kind of creepy. So I go up there and hide in this closet. And the closet is also over top the steps leading up to the attic, which are old creaky steps, because what else would they be? For context, this is the closet in which little me decided to hide, and you can see the stairwell just to the right of it. And while I'm hiding up there, I hear the steps start creaking, and I'm like, okay, so it's like somebody's coming to find me, exciting. And I remember at the time like thinking that it was another kid playing the game, because it didn't sound like adult footsteps, you know, it didn't sound like my parents coming to get me or anything. So the footsteps come up and I can hear them moving around the room, because you can't see anything through this door in the closet, like it's a solid wooden door, but I can hear them, and they kind of are like going around and then pausing and then going around and pausing, and it sounds like they're looking for something. And eventually they come around and stop right in front of the door. And on this door, the latch is on the outside of the door, so I like can't lock myself into the closet, and I can't lock anybody out of the closet. But this person comes to stand by the door, and instead of like throwing it open and being like, "I found you, like now we have to hide together," they start jiggling the latch and like pulling on the door like it won't open. And then all of a sudden, I can't breathe, like at all. Like I went from like breathing normally and giggling to like cannot suck air into my body. Like it just feels like something is like closed around my throat. Being 7 or 8, I immediately panic and like start running downstairs to find my mom and dad, and like burst out of the closet into a totally empty attic, which at the time I didn't find that odd, like because I was busy not being able to breathe, but in retrospect, like there was not enough time for somebody to move away from the door and then like circle around to get downstairs and get to the second story without me like running into them or seeing them or hearing them in any capacity, and I didn't hear anything. So I ran downstairs and I like burst into the dining room and like scare my parents a lot, because my dad like sees me come in wheezing and he's like, "What the hell is going on?" And I don't know why like an ambulance wasn't called or something, because I think everybody thought I was having like an allergic reaction, but that did not happen. They all just like ran me out of the house, like didn't grab my coat. My dad like threw down his drink and just like booked me out of the house. And the minute that I was out the front gate at the front of the house, I could breathe again. Like once I was in the street, like I was totally fine. I went from like wheezing and, you know, struggling significantly to like, okay, let's go home. So my parents are like, okay, crisis averted, cool, like let's take her back to her grandparents' house. And so I didn't find out until later, like when I was talking to my cousins and my sister and like all the other kids playing the game, that they had never gotten up to the attic. Like they never got past the second floor. They were still searching, and they were pretty much all together because again, in sardines, the point is to like find the hiding spot and everybody gets in there, and then the last man standing is like the one that has to hide. So yeah, they were all trying to like find me together and didn't come up to the third floor. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that was. And unfortunately, I have had to go back to this house like many times over the years. And I'm also a lucid dreamer, which is super fun because every time I've gone back, for some reason, I've had to sleep in the attic, which honestly is a little bit rude. But I also have like horrifically vivid dreams when I'm there, and like I'm used to seeing weird stuff in my dreams. Like that doesn't usually bother me. But every time I slept there, I would have like the most horrific dreams of this little girl like dragging me down the stairs, or trying to drown me in the pool, or like dragging me into the woods. So yeah, and every other time that I went back, I never had any allergic reaction or like trouble breathing or anything like that. Like I just had all the other fun little inexplicable experiences in that house. But then my cousin sold it in like 2019, I think, so I no longer have to go back there, and that's pretty nice. But yeah, that's my little ghost story. So, you know, call me crazy, I guess.